A new day, a new week, and a new month, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to today's episode of Well in Print on Pan African Media. Today is Monday, the 2nd of May 2025, and we are delighted to bring you news headlines as reported by newspapers around the globe. But I am not alone in the house. I am here with a gentleman with whom we shall be analyzing the headlines. So don't go away because I shall be introducing our guest on today's episode just after the transition. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, you are live on Pan African Media, and the program on air is Well in Print. In Well in Print, we take you to a journey around the world by reporting news headlines as reported by newspapers around the globe. And today, after each journey of the papers, we have a guest in the house with whom we analyze the major captions. And I'm not alone in the house. Like I was telling you, I am accompanied by a gentleman. He is no one else but Dr. NDIMANCHO Michael. Doctor, you're welcome to.
Thanks so much, Frida. Thanks for inviting me.
So how have you been? How was your weekend?
We thank God. It went well. We are here, the start of a new week.
All right.
Thank God.
That's nice. We are delighted to have you on the set of Well in Print. Ladies and gentlemen, it might interest you to know that Dr. Michael is a researcher. And before we dive into what the papers are saying this morning, Doctor, can you please tell us in what area of research are you?
I'm doing it on African civilization. And of course, one of my specialties on Pan-Africanism. Happy to know that this is a Pan-African TV too. So I work on African civilization and I defend a thesis on black consciousness. When we talk about black consciousness, we incorporate all of those trends, Afrocentric trends, and Pan-Africanism, one of them. Afrocentrism is one of them. Negritude is one of them. Feminism is one of them. Black Lives Matter is one of them. Black consciousness, as it was lived in South Africa, Steve Biko is one of them. So, of course, that is my specialty. I deal with African civilization, and that is literature of African civilization. Yes,
and it's a huge area.
Of course.
Okay, I can only say keep doing what you're doing. And we hope that someday Africa we are going to get there.
Of course.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to set the ball rolling this morning. We are starting with newspapers from the United Kingdom, and we start with Button Mail this morning, carrying as major caption: MP wants key routes upgraded to create 39,000 jobs for our region. While Financial Times headlines: Trump vows to fight on in trade war after court rules tariffs bill is illegal. We still remain here. We are going now to the Republic of Nigeria, away from the United Kingdom. Let's visit Nigeria with one newspaper this morning, The Punch, carrying headline: Ukraine war, Russia drone scheme for Nigeria sparks uproar. Foreign minister says they are not aware, while Ukraine warns of deadly consequences. Away from Nigeria, we are going from one paper to another. Let's take you to a ride to Minnesota Star Tribune this morning, reading on its Sunday's edition that yesterday international students bring in $488 million with visas and jeopardy in finance and culture. Leaders lament that potential economic threats. Liz White will bring a breakdown in all what is happening around the Minnesota area. We move from one paper to another. We take the Seattle Times, captioning river at my door, and asking the question: will Danish flood force residents to leave the area? And it says the people in this area were forced to relocate due to climate change, and now they are faced with a new crisis. So they're asking the questions if because of waters and floods that have invaded their area, they are going to quit. away from Donald Trump country, ladies and gentlemen, we now take a flight to Cameroon with the Insider's front page saying actors chart new recovery path in rebuilding Northwest and Southwest. Paper says the Prime Minister Dr. Joseph Dion Ngute on Friday, May 30th, 2025 in Boya chaired the 6th session of the steering committee of the presidential plan for the reconstruction and development of the Southwest and Northwest regions. And during the meeting, top government officials, development partners, regional administrators, and civil society leaders assured progress made so far and charted a new path for this project. While the median says on working visit to the Southwest region, Prime Minister Joseph Dion Ngute assures Southwest denizens that a lot has been done in the project to reconstruct the Northwest and the Southwest region, while promising them that much is yet to be done. Dr. Joseph Dion Ngute made this statement on Friday in Boya while presiding over the 6th meeting of the steering committee for follow-up of projects within the framework of the PPRD project. He expressed satisfaction at rate covered so far for the project and calls on more participation and better programming. This is how we saw it on today's newspaper roundup. But ladies and gentlemen, do not go away because we are diving straight into the analytical part of the papers. We come back just after the transition, a time to give our guests a breath before we start. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, you are live on Pan-African Media, and the program on air is Well in Print. On Well in Print is a bi-weekly program from Mondays and Fridays where we bring you news headlines as reported by newspapers around the globe, and after which we dive into analysis, because reading the papers alone without struggling to analyze what some of the headings really mean or signify isn't going to be doing us any good. So on each edition we bring a guest on set, a well-defined guest that will be able to help us in the analysis. So today I'm not alone in the house. Dr. Michael is here with us. I want us to start with the last papers we touched, that's Cameroon, where we have seen in 2 different papers they are talking about the Prime Minister's chairing of the 6th committee in Boya, where he has assured the population of the Southwest region that there is lots more to come in this project, while assuring them of government's determination to bring back the environment the way it was. Do you think we have had 5 steering committees in the past? There's going to be some significant difference after the 6th committee?
Well, I think that one of the things that I've always condemned about this reconstruction stuff is that you do not put the cart before the horse. And what do I mean? I mean that the war is not over yet. How are you sure that what you are reconstructing will not be re-destroyed just soon after you? These are some of the issues that are actually worrying about the issue of reconstruction. You even realize that there are some projects that have been abandoned because of insecurity in some of in some of the areas of the regions, and therefore, when you go forward to insist to put more energy, more finance on reconstructing the region, rather than more effort in ending the war, I think that there is something that doesn't go well about that, because we do not see how effectively this construction will be done. Because when you are doing reconstruction, even the workers themselves, they need security, because their security is still a problem. You even see that right now, like the region of Bamenda, the Southwest may be better now because I see things a little bit calming in the Southwest. But Bamenda is still actually a region that is still really restive in terms of, we were talking about this war. Just yesterday, right in town, we got people when it's a nightclub and shot at random, and lives keeps on being lost every day. And I'm asking myself, which engineer would get up to this kind of a region and accept to take a contract. People who take contracts there they just take it because they want the money. For the money of it, the works are not being done. Recently we heard how the bishop of the Archdiocese of Bermuda was talking about the womb route that has been abandoned, and you know, one of the reasons why that route is abandoned is because of the insecurity. So I really feel it is a good move, but then they have to do the timing of the move.
Okay, brother, instead of focusing on the reconstruction, you think they should focus first on how to bring this crisis to an end, then reconstruction can follow suit?
Exactly. That is after what we're looking at, because one of the first things that we even think about reconstruction in this region is about schools.
Yeah.
And you see now that on Mondays, there are still no schools in this region, in all of these regions.
Yeah.
You see official exams have been set, and Mondays is out of the date.
Right.
So you see that if a reconstruction is being done, I think that the first reconstruction that to carry out should be on the moral and educational level, which touches on schools. And if up to today, children don't still wear their beautiful uniforms to school, children are still afraid to leave their houses and go to school because of insecurity, I ask myself if those buildings are being reconstructed, because what guarantees the fact that you construct back the school buildings that way accents were carried out on, and
they stay empty.
That is the thing. So as I say, you may have good intention, but the procedure of that intention matters.
Okay, so maybe the procedure will be reviewed. All right, let's leave Cameroon and go to Donald Trump's country. We'll look at they said the Minnesota Star Tribune, that is talking of international students, bring in $488 million with visas in jeopardy. They say Minnesota's campus leaders lament potential economic cultural losses. So, you know, this is something like President Donald Trump is on rampage. The last time we were here on Friday, we had a newspaper that talked of him is lamenting about Harvard University that foreign students occupy over 35% of the school, while the Americans themselves have difficulties in accessing. So it's like he's struggling to limit the intake of international students. So these are people from Minnesota. They are lamenting also, because despite the fact that they are international students, they pay tuition. It's true that some go for scholarship, but tuition is being paid and other things are involved. Do you think this is a good move to be able to struggle to streamline? Are they streamlining or reducing the percentage of foreign students in universities?
But I think that case has been won by the Harvard University. The case of Harvard University has been won by Harvard University against Trump, because that is counterproductive. It's very, very counterproductive. I think that each person, according to even the UN Declaration of freedom, of human rights, each and every person has the right. It's a human right to study wherever you want to study. Same as it's a human right for anyone to migrate and go to wherever you go. Because we understand that in migration, there are what we call push factors and pull factors. Yes, you cannot stop somebody from, obeying to some of these factors, because people respond to the realities in their lives. And therefore, Trump is just getting mad about certain issues. And I think that those things are going to be a boomerang.
Maybe he's overprotective of his country.
Not protective. Trump is trying to build up
he wants to impose
some
his
kind of
supremacy.
He wants to build up some kind of some credibility for himself and not for the country, because if the America itself is lamenting, and let me tell you, if you organize a vox pop today about Trump, even those who voted Trump, they are lambasting him, and you understand that he is just being drunk about what is happening. He and his friend Elon Musk, they are just trying to get America under their feet, which is not an issue. Let people get to where they want to go. Let students get where. I remember, they are even canceling international visas and for students whatsoever.
Yes.
I think that those who study even in Harvard, you don't imagine how much fee they pay. International students in the US, they pay quite
huge.
Huge in the US.
Economy.
And what happens when you pay like that is not income that is getting into the country.
The country gains
and
something.
Countries, and especially international university of repute, like as you see, they take the intelligent students.
Of course.
It is not just as if they take international students and they take the intelligent students, because there are requirements that you have to meet before you go to this university, and not just any dick and Tom that meets those requirements.
And there is something at times. These students are admitted, these intelligent students, we call them our geniuses, are admitted, they go there, they go to school, despite the fact that they say after school you should go back home, they end up recruiting them to work there.
That is the thing, and that is why I say it's counterproductive for Trump, because America is where it is because of foreigners. They are not the real Americans per se who are building America where they are. They are foreigners. As you say, sometimes one of the proofs that you give when you are asking for a visa is that you want to give a proof that you come back to your country, because it's also a very, very important proof that you provide. And people get on going, showing houses, showing this and what the assets that they have. But then when you reach there and these people discover how productive, of course, that you are an asset.
They cannot let you go.
Even you want to come back, they don't want you to come.
They suggest you
now. So that is it. So Trump has to get into realities. Trump even banned the Secretariat for Education and the U.S. And they are asking yourself, now you see where Trump is going to. Trump wants to lead America back to those early ages, in the middle ages, and Americans, they need to be very, very careful.
He wants to live his own reality.
Exactly.
That is it. Emerge in the society.
That is it. Trump doesn't want to emerge. Trump doesn't believe that the society is moving forward. He rather wants to bring the people back, because for the main purpose that he wants to control them.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wants to put them under their feet, which is not good. As a president, you need your people to be there for you. Okay, we'll stay in America with the Seattle Times that captions "A river at my door," and they're asking the questions: if the Danish floods will force people to, leave their residence. These people came here due to climatic changes, and now they are faced with water. It's flood everywhere you stay. You cannot put your feet anywhere. Realities. In Africa, we used to cry floods. Now we are in a foreign land where we think people are okay and floods are still there. What do you say? What can really be done to help out on this? Because it's not just there. We face it. Other countries face it.
Yeah, Frida. There's what we call natural disasters, and we cannot, whatever country where you are, you cannot stop natural disaster. Rather, what countries they do is that they try to make disaster profitable. Try to tailor a disaster to make something that can be productive and useful to the people. This is what development is all about. That you use a bad situation and get it positive for yourself. If not, you cannot stop natural disasters. I saw the other times on social media, people were posting photos of floods. Maybe it was in Yaoundé or in Douala here, and I said, but floods are everywhere. You cannot use that against a government to say that there are floods, and then somebody say, let's pay. I said, what? This is everywhere. Those are natural disasters. Be it earthquake, be it flood, be it soil creep, and all of those things. Be it wildfires. They are everywhere. America as it is, you hear about wildfires every day. You cannot stop that. So I think that the only thing is to do is that a government that is projective can always be able to tell the people to read the weather and let people know where to settle. Because there are some areas whereby this flood is uncontrollable, and there are some areas. What is happening in Spain at one moment, and now the people is blaming the government of Spain, and I understood, because they didn't take preemptive measures. That's the rule of the government. The government is supposed to have scientists. The government is supposed to have meteorologists that announce and know what the weather will be, so that they can be able to alert the people.
There are times they can be misleading weather forecasts.
I think let them be misled.
But they should
do their job. And another way too is that the population too can be stubborn. Let's also look at the other side. Yeah, because even here in Douala, you ask people to leave from some quarters all those places, and they ask you, where are we going to? They say they prefer to die where they are. You hear somebody who has even built a hut in a marshy area, and then you hear him bragging around, and then you think that you get to the house and you see some kind of a mansion and livable place, but you find that it's a place that is built in a marshy and a very, very risky place. So you find that the population, out of desperation, give their life for to be used, or for issues.
Like what happened in Yaoundé with the landslides.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a natural kind of a disaster.
You have to quit this environment.
Or the one in Chang, and the hill of Chang.
It is risky.
People don't see. People, you see, we are so, human beings are like that. Wherever they are, they want to see before what has happened, because they always think that somebody else is fooling them for a reason. And so, we understand with them. Some people ask themselves, where are they going to go? But I ask myself whether you put your life on a price because you don't know what you want to do. That's right.
Okay, we still in the U.S. with Financial Times with headline. The headline of Financial Times yesterday, Sunday, said headline: Trump vows to fight on in trade war after court rules tariff bill is illegal. The tariff bill is, Trump is struggling to increase percentage for goods from the European Union countries import, and threatens the owner of iPhone to add 25% or else he has to bring iPhone's factory to settle in the US. Trump again in the news.
That is Trump for us.
He has vowed to fight back. Do you think he's going to win this?
Let me tell you, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs sent a message to Trump and told Trump, you have started, but we are going to end. So Trump and his America has started this game, this economic game, but China will be the one to end it. So Trump will know the time he wants to end it, he won't. And you find Americans are already suffering because some of these things, this increase in imports and all of those in taxes and whatsoever, that is going to cause what we call even inflation. Because sometimes, what is inflation? That Americans at one moment will have a lot of money with no goods to buy. And that is a very, very big economic defect in the country. So I think, as we said, Trump is getting too, overzealous. Yes, he's getting too overzealous about his leadership. And we think that if Americans don't take care, thank God that the court is gradually ruling out some of those executive orders. If not, if America allow themselves to Trump, they're going to suffer. I even got a hypothesis whereby, somebody said the Republicans, they come and spoil, and then the Democrats they come and fix. I think that Trump is not just spoiling. Trump is actually erasing what other people have done. And therefore, instead of coming to reconstruct as they are reconstructed in Northern and South, people are coming to build from scratch. Because Trump is deleting. That's what I see. And Americans, they have to beware. If you have anybody in America now, no matter his status or their status, they are crying. They are crying. Because, and many people are leaving America now to go to other countries. So it is something, issues of trade should not be issues that you play, don't gamble with. Yeah, because when you tighten your belt, and other countries will tighten their own belt. You think that Americans consume only things that are in America?
No way.
No. They also get things.
Affecting other countries.
If you like, let them bring the iPhone producers to come. Because a trademark is a trademark. And people believe from where they get their things. There are some of us who go to buy wine. We look at this wine. This wine is from where? Even you have the same wine that has been produced in another country, I tell you that this is not original. That is the thing. He has to know that.
That is it. Yes. Like I ordered a Samsung phone from Dubai. A colleague told me my brother is coming. I said, okay, he will come with phones. I need Samsung. He came, it was a fake Samsung.
You know,
it has been fake.
That is it. That has been fake.
Seriously.
Totally
no
fake.
Network from people like him.
Now you see it. So those are those kind of people who have come over and then they think that they were producing now. Contrefaçon.
Okay. So now let's move to Nigeria with the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, the Republic of Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria, this morning is raising a situation. The headline says, Ukraine war, Russia drone scheme for Nigeria. Sparks uproar. Foreign Ministry says they have no idea, while Ukraine warns of deadly consequences. My question is, should Africa get involved? Should Africa get entangled with what is happening in Ukraine and Russia?
No, but of course, one of the things that I spoken on another media last Saturday, I said, Africa, of course, let us know, Africa has had a policy of non-alignment, of neutrality in all of this. But then, that is when it comes to diplomacy and geopolitics. But then you cannot stop Africa from doing business with any of them. Africa does business because Africa depends on Ukraine and Russia for wheat. They depend on Russia for military arsenals. They depend on Russia for fuel. I mean, you cannot stop Africa from making, because if you stop them, it means that you want to starve Africa. And therefore, but it's just that they don't need to get in an active kind of partnership, partisan kind of a stuff. At the UN, Africa has developed a policy of non-alignment. They don't vote. When they are voting, they don't vote. Okay. But they play business with them because it's at the level of business.
They don't vote, but they abide to whatever thing is said.
Yeah, of course. But the issue is they don't want to project themselves. And let me tell you, Africa on the 23rd of June 2023, they led a delegation of 7 to Moscow and Kiev. And this delegation was led by Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. He led a delegation of 7 African states to broker a peace deal between the two. That is now what I'm telling you, that yes, Africa needs peace, because without peace, they will not be able. We have had some crisis here even in Cameroon here because of the war in Ukraine. Where when you ask anything, somebody will just tell you, well, war in Ukraine. Now flour, war in Ukraine. This war in Ukraine. So of course, Africa, it is of the interest in Africa to get now when you see now the scheming for especially Russia to Africa, it is strategic. Russia was not in the race for colonialism. And now we have realized that most European countries and even America, they are against Russia in one way or the other. And Russia thinks that they can get solace. Exactly. Russia is finding now partnership. They know that the way they can help France is in Africa. Where they can help Britain is in Africa. And therefore now they are creating that partnership that they are having with African countries. And that is why you find that some African countries like the Sahel states, who are they depending on? They know that they have a strong force behind it, which is Russia. You think if Russia was not backing the Sahel state, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. So of course, Russia thinks that they can leverage Africa, their partnership with Africa, to get some, strength to frighten the world, to know that they are taking. And of course, many of our African countries are now getting out of their colonialism.
And this brings me to another question, still regarding Africa and the external world, the Russia, the Ukraine, and all these countries from where we have our help, from where things come from, partnerships are being signed. What can be done at the level of Africa? Let us not limit it to Cameroon, to be able to at least limit the interest of this dependency.
It is very important, and that even touches one of my papers I wrote concerning Pan-Africanism. And I said we have to leave from the era, the level of cultural identity to economic identity. It is not about celebrating a cultural identity anymore.
Of course.
It is now about celebrating an economic identity. And when you are celebrating an economic identity, there are a lot of things that come into play. It means that what? You need to build your data. Military data, agricultural data, economic data. Meaning that what? You need to be able to open the barriers, the borders for Africans to do free trade.
Of course.
And therefore, when you encourage production, local productivity, and as I often say, he who has an economic, he has the economy, has the power.
Everything.
That is the thing. You don't need to go celebrating identity. Just obliterate your economy. Look at even in your quarters. I want to look at a local example. Anybody in your quarter where you live who is well-to-do immediately appears where people are. What do people do?
Respect,
they bow, respect, sir. This,
they give you, they look for seats for you. People
that is the thing. They look for living a little. If it's a little boy, they look for a seat for you. That is what happens. People don't respect age. Age is nothing. It doesn't put food on the table.
What you can do.
That's what you can do.
How can you help?
How can you help? How can this change the situation, the living situation of people? This is what Africa is supposed to look for. They are not supposed to go celebrating things that are not of value, of essence to Africa. Get the economic power
and then you get the respect in the world. Because now we talk about globalization.
Yeah.
Globalization is about you bringing this to the global stage and I bringing this.
Yeah.
You buy and I buy.
And I buy.
What does Africa have to sell on a global stage? Nothing. And meanwhile, they have everything.
Everything.
Look at the wars in Africa. It is because other people are funding it in order to get what they want.
Benefit.
So that is the thing. Let Africa, in order not to depend on all of them. I'm even surprised that a country like Cameroon should depend on Russia for wheat. A country like Cameroon should depend on Russia for fuel. When we have it, what is the rule of Sonera? What is the rule of... I mean, there are a lot of things. So, in regards to your question, it is just that Africa should build their data. When they build their economic data, this dependency would tend to be to partnership and to collaboration, rather than someone sitting at a level of authority and commanding someone at a level of solidarity. Now it will be a level playing ground for all.
We keep buying. So they should invest even in training, professional training.
That is it.
So now I want to talk professional training. You know, in state universities, because they are still linked somehow. In state universities, the school fees is 50,000 francs. You can pay in 2 installments. In government university, it's somewhere better. To private sectors where the school fees for the university, somewhere you go, is 570,000.
I teach in university is 2.5.
Yes, there are families where you have children who can do something, people who can produce. The other day I was watching a documentary in Ukraine, and I saw kids as young as 5 years, 6 years, producing drones. And the people on the field, the military, are using them. So what can be done? How can government step in? Because something is supposed to be done. African's government, I don't want to focus on Cameroon, let's look it globally. What can be done? Should fees, can government step into, see into it that fees are reduced in some of these schools where fees are so exorbitant, but where they can train and you have able Africans to be able to stand for the continent and do something good.
I really doubt, Frida, whether the point is at the level of the fee at the university.
Okay.
The point is that Africans do not know what they want. Or secondly, that what is at their disposal, they are rather looking at what is elsewhere. Because if we focus on the needs in Africa, each and every person will be able to give his own contribution.
Do something.
Let me just look at the level of agriculture. If we focus on producing what we consume, then the agricultural sector will skyrocket, will boom. But the point is that we focus on things that we do not produce. Imagine, because when we hear that cocoa is expensive, everybody gets into cocoa and they want to produce cocoa, knowing that cocoa we do not consume it directly. And this and so many other examples of that nature. Now, going to university fee, the government, of course, government universities are cheaper in Africa because of government subvention. Lecturers are on the government payroll. Lecturers are civil servants. But when you go to private sectors, they are not civil servants who teach. They are individual, and they too need to have a standard of life that government teachers who teach in government universities they have. And though that is the reason why that is. And now, second hypothesis, I am a lecturer and I know that most private universities in Africa are even much more equipped than government universities.
Yes.
Because there is a follow-up, there is competition in the private universities, private sector. The government doesn't need any competition. And therefore, they have to put this fee high in order to meet up with the competition that they have with the equipment and all of those things, that because that competition yields fruit thanks to the equipment that they have. And with low fee, they will not be able, because they don't have sponsorship from elsewhere. They are being sponsored by the fee. Yeah, exactly, that they have. So I think that Africans, they may not just think that it is because fee is high that they don't produce or they don't excel like other children elsewhere. As you said, some children as young as 5 or are already producing electronic watches, drones, and whatsoever. It is because we have refused to see the needs around us. Because if we are looking at the needs around us, African students will be able to do. You do what is utterly what is available and what is productive in your immediate environment. Those people have gone out of the issues of agriculture and all of these because they have mechanized farming and all of those things, and now they are now at the level of technology. Remember that education is in stages. In the 1960s, when we African nations they gained independence, the education was not for science and technology. Education was for languages, just for people to read and write. In the 1960s, that's how it is.
To be able to communicate.
To be able to communicate. And what they did was that even with the back or the GCE, you were able to work. And this is what they did. You did on the training job. They employ you and you do your training while working.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So you find that the need of the 1960s was not about you made a scientist or whatsoever. No, as time
people
grew,
still did things. People did things.
Exactly, but people did a lot of things.
And they were
and you even see that the economy of Cameroon has gone down. It's boomed. Even it's that period more than what is happening now.
Yeah.
So you find that as time went by, things started changing, and people now started getting into school, and now you could only be employed if you have an advanced level. But that time now was not long. It changed, and now you went to the first degree. You could only be credible in the job market. You had the first degree. The time changed. Now you could only be master's degree. The time changed. Now with a doctorate, now many people branches that thing all around.
Everywhere.
So, but what is happening is that our productivity does not tie up with the education that we have. So our problem is not even that of education. Look at example of Cameroon, where you have doctors and medical doctors sitting in front of the ministry, and one even wanting to throw acid on herself, or burn herself to ashes because she's not employed. It is wrong. You are taught, you reach that level of education to create jobs and not to ask jobs. So you find that there's lost priority.
We have a civil service mentality.
That is the thing. So it's not the issue of universities taxing high fee. It is what about those who have even gone to those universities and come out and are out? What are they doing? These are the rhetorical question we ask.
Staying in the neighborhoods and criticizing those.
That is it.
Techniques, please. Can we go back to the media newspaper? There is another caption here that caught my attention. The media newspaper is saying, "Come to if voted president, I will protect Bia and his family." If he's voted president, he's going to protect Bia and his family.
I think that is all about propaganda. If Bia needed a protection of his family, he will put his son, Frank Bia, to protect. Who can better protect Bia apart from his family members? So I think that's all campaign propaganda. And what he's trying to do is what we call in philosophical jargon ad populum, argumentum ad populum. Yes, he's appealing to the people, you know. He's at the mercy of the people. So let him not say that. He should give a much more political agenda than talk about protecting Bia. Bia has been Bia has been for 90 something years.
43 years president.
As president, it is now that he wants. Look at a political agenda of somebody, of an African aspirant. You want to protect Bia. Oh my God. We should leave that. Let us stop all that nonsense.
What are you protecting Bia
Give
from?
us your political agenda, your economic agenda. How you bring out Cameroon from the shackles of corruption, the shackles of embezzlement and all of this, and how you can skyrocket the economic productivity of Cameroon. You come and tell us how you protect Bia at 94. Does he really need protection?
He protection?
Oh my God.
Where are they taking him to?
Oh my God. For him to live forever?
So we stay with the Guardian, with the media newspaper. You know, there is a lot. I was watching something there, and somewhere here they talked about the disunity amongst opposition political parties in Nigeria that are threatening to, their own elections is in 2027. And in Cameroon, we have elections in a couple of months. October, it's coming. What is this with the opposition in Africa? That they cannot have, rally as one person. You come in a country as Cameroon, we have political parties. I don't know if they exist just in their suitcases, but they are just so much. Why is there always a problem for the opposition in Africa to unite as one, to be able to stage a serious, competition?
I distinguish among the opposition 4 types of oppositions in Africa.
Okay.
But globally, know that what we have in Africa, most 80% is la politique du ventre.
Okay.
François Bayard, in his L'État en Afrique, la politique du ventre, talks about that very much.
Yeah.
Why people get. But me, through my research, because for your information, I engaged the opposition parties in Cameroon during this period, since the beginning of the year now, and I even wrote an open letter to them, which many responded, and I still published the response of the opposition tools. Yes. And I've distinguished about 4 kind of oppositions in Africa. We have one opposition with what we call the liberation theology. Yeah. And that liberation theology is those who come and say, this president must go. Yeah. This president must go. That is they are
your Moses.
Yes. Now, there is a second type of opposition in Cameroon where we call them the opposition of proposition. Those are people who don't really want the president to go, but they want the president to share.
Yeah, at least.
Yes, let him be there, but share with them.
Let us participate.
Yeah, let us eat and some, you know. Let us eat together. But please stay there.
Let the cake
share with us.
Let it go round.
Yeah, let it go round. That is the second kind of the opposition that we have. Now, there's also what we have called the opposition of co-optation.
Co-optation.
Yes. Those are the kind of opposition parties who have become part of the ruling party. You have that in Cameroon.
I know many people
with
like
the UNDP, with the UPC, with the National Salvation Party.
Yes, at the end, they will say they have given.
Exactly. I will say after you say Jivang and all that's the opposition of co-optation.
Yeah.
Okay. The 4th type is the opposition of the opposition.
Yeah.
This one is the most dangerous.
They oppose the opposition.
Yes, they oppose the opposition. Yes, that is their role. And most people in their hypothesis say that this kind of opposition are being sponsored by the ruling government. Now you see, that is what is happening in Africa. For those who do not know, that is why. And that is why it is very difficult for a coalition to take place in Africa.
Very difficult.
It takes committed people, few people. If you want a great number, it will never happen. But if you have about 3, 4, 5, it can happen. In Nigeria, Obi is already streaming for a coalition. I even saw him whenever with Atiku and all of those, they were really trying to get together. That is what happened in Africa about the opposition.
Opposition political parties in Africa. Which means if the opposition does not take its place, they don't sit upright. There's no way an opposition leader in this generation will beat people that have been there. 17 people that came in Nigeria, he came with all his wealth.
People came and they gave him a contract of importing generators. He started quiet. That is now the opposition of proposition. Skip my own. Let me hit now and say he has his contract. He's the only one who has a contract. And now what happened is that the electricity supply in Nigeria became epileptic because they want him to be selling his. You now see how it works. That's the way it works. It's a whole machinery.
That's terrible.
Yes, that's a whole machinery. And then the populace, the masses are there crying like this. They do not know what is happening. That is how it happens.
And that's why people are diving into the use of solar panels.
That's right.
Maybe that's only
that
thing
is
we
the
can
thing.
depend on because it's at least also safe for the population. So we going back. I want us to go back with the help of the Regie to the Independent newspaper, please. Let's check on something on the Independent newspaper in Cameroon. There's something caught my attention again at the Independent newspaper. At the Tendix, please, can we have the Independent newspaper on the board? Okay. Independent newspaper said that the government of Cameroon opts to rise the ants. Then let me read what obtains. They say during the cabinet meeting for the month of May, chaired last Wednesday by the Prime Minister, proposals were made to enhance the productivity, economic viability, and credibility of private media in Cameroon. private media in Cameroon. We have the media. Of the media, so it just caught my attention. That escaped me. At least we should just pinch and talk about it a bit. Do you think the media in Cameroon, is having a fair share? Because the media is the fourth estate. We are the mouthpiece of the people. Is the media in Cameroon free? When you observe from where you sit from your chair and you look at the media landscape in Cameroon, is there freedom for the media?
Well, if you look globally, looking at going to data to see the number of media in Cameroon, okay, you say there's freedom.
There is.
Because there's freedom of creation.
Yeah.
And if you do not know, nobody pays the needed amount to create a media in Cameroon. And it is strategic.
Of course.
Yeah, because they know that if you pay the needed amount, you will now flex music.
Yes.
So they know that if you don't have it, they can close.
You can just start and then they come in when
exactly. So you don't
like
branches anything to say that you have authorization or you paid all the necessary fee. That is the thing. But looking at the number of media in Cameroon, yes, we can say there's some freedom of creation. But then, because there is freedom of speech before speech and not after speech. There's that modulation of the media.
Yeah.
And you know, the media is created in Cameroon to sing the song of the status quo. And in media, you get populist, like we have. I don't want to name some.
Yeah, that is it.
You now
We
become.
know ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. You now become
You
a
stand on the
nightmare,
opposing
and they
side.
now tell you that no, this is not a reason for which you were created. And that is what. The problem that we have in Africa, because the media plays an important role. The media is supposed to be like the third strongest power in the country, because the media opens the hearts and minds of the people. The media proposes, yes, through the criticism and all of that. But the point is that in Africa we get criticism negatively only. They don't know that there's positive
side to it.
Of it. Even though I must admit that some people have gone to extremes. It may not be the media themselves, but those that they invite. Yes, I understand. Yeah,
you cannot speak. Your guests can speak.
Yeah, that's right. And as the CNC will always say, when you sit quiet and people make those rhetorics and you do not hush them down, you are partisan. You're also part of it. Now you see, and sometimes some journalists don't know that.
And all
sometimes they just sit and they are enjoying and admiring the thing, because the people are talking from the standpoint of the populace, of the masses. And you know, popular views sometimes they need to be canalized in the way that you play like a rat. A rat bites and blues in the night. The rat will come and bite and blue. So that is what happened, and that's why they become now a threat to, especially to autocratic governments. Because with autocratic government, they do not want negative that kind of criticism. And it is not only in Africa. Did you hear that Trump slammed down the Voice of America?
Voice of America.
Yeah, of course. I have my friend who is even the director for Africa, and I used to consult the Voice of America on weekly basis. But now, you told me that Trump put the thing down. A Voice of America that has stood the test of time. We grew up hearing about the Voice of America. So we just talked about Trump. Is this somebody who is progressive? Trump is very, very progressive. So that is how people get frightened about the media, and that is what is happening in Africa. But rather than canalizing the media to do the function, but you find that sometimes people just want to hush it. But hushing the media down is not even the best. Yes, it's not the best position, because what happens when you push somebody to a wall? When you push somebody to a wall, it speaks venom. Yeah. So the people need to be always very, very careful. Yeah, the government should be careful. They should rather try to see how they can canalize the media and make the media useful to the people and to the government.
Because like now, see, also the media in Cameroon, let me take, for instance, the happenings in the northwest and southwest regions, and you stand as a middleman. Maybe one of the voices, in quotes, in the bush, pass across a message. They have means through which they get to you. I got out of the media because I was called severally and threatened severally, so I had to stay out of the TV for 2 years. This is the third year. Yes. So in that case, let's see this guy that died, Wazizi in Boya, was communicating. Those guys will give message. So if you cannot stand as a go-between, they will tag you. Is it the right thing? What can government do to protect us? It's true that the Prime Minister is saying here that they are going to upgrade. What can really be done because we need it. We need to get information from the grassroots. We bring it to the public for the powers that be to know that this is what is happening on the field and to be able to attend to those things.
I think the journalists need to be protected, except for the cases, extreme cases where the government think that some journalists work with hot rooms, with terrorists or whatever. But of course, that happens sometimes. But then I think that journalists need to be protected, because when you leave journalists to themselves, what they have to they do now is that they go to the opposite side, since they cannot have protection from here. Imagine somebody who, as a journalist, reporting during the Northwest and Southwest crisis. It is a very, very trying moment. Even those of us who are just like consultants on the media, I cannot tell you the kind of music. I cannot go to my village because of the threats that I have had. I find that sometimes we need to know some of these guys are not educated, and therefore they don't even know what you are saying. All that you just see is that you are on TV. And because you are on TV and they say that you are in La Publique, this is their reason. You are not part of them. That is just that. So, but there's need for education, and there's need for that coverage from the government towards the media practitioners. It is very, very important, because if you do not protect them, they look for ways to protect themselves. And if a journalist feels that okay, he's left alone, and he thinks that he can have some little bit of protection from terrorists or whosoever, I mean, he leans on to that side, and he's able to, if he thinks that he can sustain his life that way. And they should also know that some journalists work under threat, under some kind of situation or geographical locations where they are under threat. And it's just like you say that you cannot really be able to say the truth meaningfully when you are in captivity. Because you cannot get somebody in captivity and then you come out with a statement and say this person said like that. Nobody can say exactly what he thinks freely when he's in captivity or when you are under threat. This is one thing, because each person will always look at where he's leaning to get a leeway. I was reading a book. I must say this. Read the title of the book, "The Revelation de Jean Fauchive." I know that it's a book that is not heard in Cameroon and is banned in whatever. And I've read the book because someone sent it to me online, and he is narrating on how many people, when he was in charge of what we call today the I don't know what I say, May or whatsoever, how many people came and betrayed their own friends and family because of liberty of security. Yes, that's right. So you see that when you are at a point where you are desperate,
you cannot help yourself.
You cannot help yourself.
You have been pushed to
exactly.
The wall.
You have nothing but to say the lie in order to save yourself and get out of the entanglement. That is it.
Life is for the living.
Life is for the living, of course. You wouldn't die and tell a story. That means tell no tales.
And we stay along the path of the media, and it's true that it's not amongst the headlines I reviewed, but I'm touched by it. I want to read a small phrase from the Sun newspaper, still talking about the media. They say headline: Prime Minister instructs government to stop. Prime Minister instructs government to step up support to private press. Okay. Can we say we are on the good path now?
No, now you can start smiling. You can start smiling. Now the issue is...
So don't you think this support is also something that compels the media to do the bidding?
Now you should know the time that is coming towards what? Elections. People should read the handwritings of the wall.
It looks
read
like
the handwritings of the wall.
You meant to say it's well calculated?
Exactly, it's a well calculated move. You know that during a electoral year, there are a lot of pronouncement. Read Achebe's Man of the People. We have a lot of these things that happen, and this is to learn. And this is right. And this is to learn the media organs to know that the government is with you.
We are standing by you.
Yeah, please. And you know that there's an adage in Africa which says that a mouth that eats doesn't talk.
Not at all.
Who will come and take and eat and then begin to talk again? We have had people who have been silenced like that in Africa and in Cameroon in particular. So that is the thing. You should know that it's a strategy for the media practitioners.
It may still not be.
Well, I doubt whether you cannot be. Let me tell you, immediately you take. The best way not to take, immediately. Well, you will say that you are taking because it is. But has it always happened?
They have been given They have been given though
very, very
our budget
insignificantly.
company, yeah, Amiga.
And
So
now what
they are
happened is
stepping
too,
it up.
when they give to the media house, I doubt how much that is drained down to the branches of those who do the job.
It doesn't go. It
Voila.
cannot
So
go.
those are also some of the realities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
I mean,
government may
they
have
give it-
goodwill, but do the media houses have also the goodwill for the journalists?
Yeah, the owners will buy more cameras.
The more cameras are
buy
put in there,
microphones.
exactly.
For us to do a good job.
Oh, exactly. For you to do a good job.
What we expect in return is the month end.
That's the thing. So you see that that's what happens. That's what happens. The world is that the way it is, It is the way it is. So we sometimes when a good deed we thank and stay aside. Yes.
So I want to stand and say it's a laudable initiative, a laudable proposal by the Prime Minister to
Yeah, it
at
is.
least do that.
It
It's going to help a lot. You have people who are ready to work, but lot of hurdles. You know, the private media is not an easy place to.
Yeah,
you need to have the passion, the determination, and
you can make quite through a lot from the private media.
If your media is credible,
yes,
you can
could
make
do
quite a lot.
Yes. I know people in the private media who do quite well.
Yes.
Yeah, it depends on where practicing. When it's a passion, when it's a passion, you make it. The point is, but when you just get into it because it was nothing else, yes, you need to be patient and know that you will grow. And one of the things, anyway, it's not an advice, is that you should know that all the houses, media houses are the same. The private media houses, they are almost the same. Whereby it's like you're living here to go to other way. You meet the same issues and the same conditions. So one of the things that I advise friends who are media practitioners, grow. I mean, you will grow with time. Develop the passion. Develop a love for it.
Be there.
Yeah.
You don't know
because
who is
sometimes what
watching
pays you is not even the house,
Of course.
You get other things that pay you more while you practice.
Yeah.
So
because I want to remember that I was working somewhere, and there's this man. He has a communication office in Yaoundé. He will call me, EGBESON. I say, yes, I have an advertorial. Then I'll look for my French colleague. I say, let's do it in English and French. When we are done doing it in English and French, he will tell me, I will pay your friend. I will pay your colleague because he's not my friend. For you, we'll see anything. I say, okay, there's no problem. No, I was like,
yeah, but you took it. You were in good faith.
Each time he calls, I did 2028 presidential elections. I was in the
2018, yes.
2018, sorry. I was in the far north region with Aminatu Aijo.
Okay.
I got a call for a job I did not apply for.
Okay.
That guy recommended me.
No, you see.
So at times it's not just about what you
One
have
good turn deserves another.
That guy recommended me there. Then I went. I did not even know organizers of Yafe and Promote. I'm like, I don't know these people. They directed me when I came. I started reading about them. I'm going for an interview. I did not submit an application. Who took my application there? Yeah. That when I got there, I knew he was the one. Then I met a senior colleague, a French colleague, there for the same job. Then I got scared. When the senior colleague saw me, EGBESON, and he used to be my supervisor when I was doing internship in the radio.
Well, now you are competing.
He asked me that, are we here from the same course? I said, I guess so. If I knew I was coming to stand you, I would not come. He said, no, everybody has his own
place,
luck. Behold, when I went for the interview, I could navigate between English and French, and that's what we're looking for.
That's what
I could navigate between English and French.
Wow.
When you ask a question, it's stuff in French. I start in French and I switch, just like that. Then I went. They said, okay. When that guy left, they called me. Behold, for 5 months, I saved $1 million. That's money. That guy could not have money to give me.
To give you for
then I worked
advert.
there that year. When COVID came, they reduced the effective. But they called me each day. I went on the Yafe set. Each day I worked at the secretary, I had 25,000 francs for 2 weeks.
Very good.
One good turn deserves another. So it's the media landscape, the private sector is not easy.
That is how it is.
You need to stand the test of time. And when you are
but those who go there to look only from Gombo, is where there is a
when
problem.
you do anything, you do put in your all.
Yes.
Give
just
in
give
your
your
all.
best. Well, it's not just about the media; it's everywhere.
Everywhere,
Even
anyway.
Teachers and
That is it.
You put in your own time is coming. No effort invested in something goes for nothing. If it doesn't pay now, it pays in the future. I remember I published a book last year. I just even a copy here. A book that I conceived some 10 years ago.
Wow.
I just kept it. Was last year that I haven't thought on it. And the launching went so viral, because of the thematic.
Of
Yeah.
course. It was a pull factor.
So that's it. You know, energy investing in something goes for nothing.
Yes, I will still stay well there. So let me just read something. Statistics that the independent newspapers do not give and the median. Let me just read it so we'll talk a bit on it. So the Sun is still talking about prime ministers chairing the meeting in Boya. They say PM Diongute reaffirms commitment towards peace and development. Now they come the same 250 billion francs CFA plan focuses on revitalization, infrastructure, rehabilitation, and social cohesion. Transparency and efficiency of plan to be fostered by implementation of 3 special appropriation accounts this year. Huge needs, less resources, government resolute for continuity of plan. PM urges financial partners to come on board. Come on board. This is what we'll be signing out with this edition. You see all these. This is the money at stake. 2,500 billion francs CFA. Then we are calling for partners to come and help us. Must we bring partners and everything to help?
That's the best way to swindle the money. When partners come in, the best way to swindle, because they can follow up the money that Cameroon itself gives. And that's why during COVID, the COVID gate money swindle can't get money swindle, because it's easy to swindle money has been given for nothing. Because people think that when you give for nothing, you cannot just use it. And the issue of partners, of course, is because we still believe that we cannot do things ourselves.
Of course. Yes, don't you think this issue of asking for partners keeps you indebted to people all over?
Of course, it ties you, it engulfs you. It takes away your right to do certain things, because there you remain tied to the debt that you took from somebody, and there is no way in which you can talk to the person. Imagine that you owe me some money. Are you sure that you can stand and even talk to me in the kind of way? You will always compromise. You will always compromise.
All right. So, so Michael, Dr. Michael, I want to say thank you for honoring our invitation today. We have come to the end of today's episode of Well in Print, but I hope that you will still create time for us to grace our next productions whenever we come calling.
Yes, of course. If I have time, like when you call, I say, I'm free today. Why won't I come? And it's always a pleasure to enlighten the population. When you go to school, it is to also bring back your own contribution to the growth of your community and the country. If you don't want to bring the growth, why then did you go to school? I'm happy, and I wish to congratulate you. I know you are going to make blast here with the Pan-African TV media. I encourage you so much, and your promoter, whom I know very well. My regards to Bashir, who have been somewhere or another media for a very long time. Of course, yes. My regards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we saw it on today's episode of Well in Print with me, Frida EGBESON, accompanied on set by Dr. Michael. I want to say thank you to the production team because they are behind the machines, bringing the beautiful images you've seen and the good sound. You've not had any toothache. Until next edition, please don't go away for more interesting, educative, and compelling programs are on your way on your Pan-African media. Thank you. Until Friday, stay blessed.